What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Real Ones. Today, I'm joined by. This is so weird. Never had my co-founders on the podcast before. Welcome, Drishti Harman, to
Thank
the
you.
Real
Thank
Ones.
you for finally having us.
Only like 36 episodes later.
Long time.
Been building the suspense. It's okay.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta build the hype up. Drishti, happy birthday. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about being 62 today?
62
Yeah.
feels like the same.
Yeah, guys, she hates me for making her spend her birthday recording a podcast, but it is what it is. Founder life,
No.
So today's episode is a little bit unconventional, obviously, because we have history, right? I think we'll start with Drishti. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then how this journey has sort of been for you.
So, born and raised in Dubai, and Joel and I actually went to the same school, and that's how it all really started initially. So we've both known each other since middle school. Yeah. Later on, when we moved to the UK, we kind of was a bit of a distance, not as close. But then when we started discussing potentially working together, it was like we were friends again, and like we already had that long-standing trust and foundation, which really helped us work together. So that's a bit on like how our journey started and how we met. But beyond that, once I moved to the UK, I was studying computer science and did more research into AI, and then I worked at IBM as well. I really learned how like big tech works, got some like hands-on work in software engineering, but it was like I was just like this small cog in this big machine. They had so many products and like so much infrastructure, and I was working on like this tiny part. And it didn't really feel like I was making any difference at all or having any impact or even seeing the impact I'm having, because I have no idea who our customers are, if this is actually helping them. And then I was like, actually, this is so not for me. I want to be able to actually build something and like see the value for it and see whether like just work directly with people who actually want to use our product, be able to build something, put it out there. And yeah.
Oh.
How did we meet?
Oh wait, let me think.
Can you say that?
Can we talk about it on the podcast?
Yeah, no stress. So we met through an ex of mine
Damn.
who actually went to uni with Joel, and she introed us when Joel and Drishti were looking for someone else to start the company with.
Yeah.
Before that, I also studied computer science, studied in Munich, just started building my own projects just to like learn as much as possible, especially at the time in crypto, because crypto was a huge thing. I got super into it, didn't have a lot of money to invest, but I thought, hey, I'm a developer. The least I can do is at least make some stuff that'll earn me some money. So I started building in crypto, met Joel and Drishti through the common friend.
The one who must not be named.
No, it's all amicable. It was fun.
Right.
And it was a blessing, to be honest.
No.
But yeah, just built a lot of my own products, worked for a company that helped to on-ramp people to crypto. That means just...
People don't know what on-ramp means.
I'm about to explain it, man. Hold your horses.
Oh, real estate, man. Come on.
It just means going from normal money, the money we're all used to, banknotes or credit cards, onto crypto. So I built their whole infrastructure, getting like fully compliant with Kenyan laws because I'm from Kenya, I grew up there. And then from there, I don't know, just started exploring other avenues within computer sciences, whether it be AI, games development, literally just tried everything and anything and built a whole bunch of products.
Wow.
Until, started the company together, and we've been on this journey for, 4 years now almost?
Oh, no, that's a bit much, bro.
Yeah.
Like 3 years and 7 months is what my LinkedIn says.
Yeah,
So.
rounded up to 4.
Yeah. Whenever it's convenient. Sometimes I feel like it's better to say 6 months.
Yeah, we'll just call it 6 months.
But yeah, it's obviously been very interesting. It's different when you're building a company and you're like super young and you're kind of doing it together and you're learning on the go, right? Because let's be honest, like I'm not an experienced CEO, and like you guys also learning the ropes on the way, and it's just like kind of learning on the fly, and really a lot of imposter syndrome, and like you're just like, oh wait, can I actually even do this? Like, am I qualified to be CEO? Am I qualified to be CTO, CSA? Like all this kind of stuff. Like, can we do this stuff? How do you guys kind of deal with overcoming that imposter syndrome kind of a thing? Like, I mean, a lot of startups is fake it till you make it. Like, you have to kind of play the part, walk the talk, and like the whole thing. How do you guys deal with that?
I think you took the words right out of my mouth, man. Fake it until you make it is something I think I realized really early on, and you are honestly an inspiration towards that. Like,
You're the king of faking
yeah.
it.
Hey, inspiration sounds better.
Okay, go
I
on.
was thinking the same thing, to be
you know,
honest.
we were young, we started the company, and then we were already going out there, and you were raising money, and you were looking for investors, we were looking for a market already, and I was just like, wow, okay, we're in the deep end. There's no time to sit here and think about how do I do this and how do I do this. Just what does my instinct tell me? What do I need to do? And I'm going to do that, and I'm just going to do it as much as possible and just act the way I think I should act and improve myself as much as possible until I get to where I want to be. I think I'm still not there, but we've improved a lot, I think, over the past
100%.
6 months.
I totally agree. I think it's like initially I didn't have that in me because I just didn't feel confident enough to think that I could do this. But seeing both your attitudes really helped as well, and like inspired me to kind of try and do the same. But also part of it was just like being disciplined and like day in, day out, just like be focused and like do it, because you don't always feel motivated. You don't always feel like you can do this, but it's like just put in the work. And what really helps is having both of you, because I think having each other to rely on and like pick each other up when we're feeling low is been like the foundation to like make sure this goes. So it's really like the people we surround ourselves, our team, that keeps us going. And it's just like pushing myself to be out there, do more, that makes you feel more confident. And honestly, it's also like small things that make me feel more confident. Okay, dressing the part, dressing well, those things also kind of add up to make you feel more confident too. So it's like also finding what works best for yourself.
Yeah, I think we had, I mean, obviously being in real estate is so different to being in like crypto and all this kind of stuff, right? Like you, I think I walked into a VC's office the other day, and the guy was like, Joel, why are you wearing a 3-piece? You look crazy. Like, you know, where's the black t-shirt and where's the blue jeans, right?
Where's the crypto bro gone?
Honestly, I think there's something to be said about the respect that you give an industry that you're a part of. Like if you're a doctor, you best be wearing your, you know, your coat, your white coat, and like, you know, doing that. You're not going to walk into a surgery room wearing like a black t-shirt just because, you know, you're in tech or whatever. You got to respect the room.
Probably not allowed to operate, but
Yeah, probably. So it's like if you are wearing a suit and tie like the other guy wearing the suit and tie, you're just another guy in a suit and tie. Whereas if you're in the world with everyone that's wearing suit and tie and you're in a t-shirt, it's like, wait, what's going on? Like, how does he get to wear a t-shirt, right? So it's kind of like a interesting balance. I pick and choose nowadays. It's just more of like like casual Thursdays or whatever at this point. But yeah, very interesting to hear how you guys sort of like worked around like overcoming.
I mean, I'd like to add on a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I think when the first time we hired someone, that's when it really, really kicked in that we are building something. There's going to be people under us, and we need to be responsible. We need to really act the part.
Yeah.
Because hiring people, being above them is one thing, and managing them is one thing. But we were also hiring young people who kind of, in a way, look at us as maybe not really a role model, but they do look up to us in a way because we are, you know, the founders of the company. We're doing something special and they're doing it with us, yes. But they've just joined on somewhere in the middle of the journey, and they're looking to us to kind of lead them and show them the way.
Yeah.
So even that just, it forces you to have a little bit more confidence, a little bit more responsibility.
How do you guys go about sort of finding answers to questions you don't really have answers to?
Nowadays, ChatGPT is brilliant. But even better than ChatGPT, I think, is just human experiences. There's nothing you can value above just other people's experiences, going to people, asking them questions, what have they learned from their lives. Even in completely different industries, you never know what you can learn from people and how you can apply it to your life. And that's one thing ChatGPT can't emulate yet.
I think that's so important, like just talking to as many people as you can, but also remembering like at the end you have to make your own decision. And like initially it felt like, oh, I don't know enough and I relied too much on what others thought. But that makes it harder, irrespective of whether it goes well or if it doesn't go well. You need to make that decision or whatever it is for yourself. Even if it goes bad, you're okay with it because it was your call. And I think that's important, just like learning to be okay with that as well and trusting your own final judgment.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely right. And I think you spoke a little bit about ChatGPT. And I think it's very interesting. People kind of assume that AI kind of came up overnight. Most people think that it's just like a 2-year situations. Maybe like crypto is just going to like, come and go and come and go. And because people are kind of evaluating all of these things from a speculative price and like, price action lens as opposed to, a utility kind of thing. And I think ChatGPT is the first instance where commercially viable sort of like, natural language interaction is like, possible. And that's why like, now people almost have to take this AI conversation quite seriously. Now, real estate is really not an industry where a lot of AI is historically used. Technology, automation, this is kind of the extent of the conversation, whether it's a CRM, whether it's a portal, whether it's, some sort of chatbot or something like that. Like this is the extent of the technology conversation in real estate for our customer base, which is like brokers and like on the sales side of the developers. We obviously have construction tech and we have all this other interesting community management technology and stuff like that. But I want to ask you guys, where do you sort of see AI going in the context of real estate?
We've been talking about this obviously over the past 6 months and especially over the past few days. Yeah, people will be able to have one-man brokerages with an entire team under them, and that team doesn't mean you're hiring people and you have physical people in your office, but you're gonna have a virtual team basically. So you set up like a marketing AI agent, which is what we call them, and this agent does everything everything you tell it to do basically, and it does it autonomously. So you don't have to intervene and tell it and make decisions for it. You basically set your or come up with the strategy with it in the beginning, and over time it just learns and becomes better, handles your whole marketing stack for you. Same thing with sales, it'll be able to make calls for you, qualify leads for you, maybe not take clients through viewings yet, because we haven't gotten to a stage where AI is capable of actually seeing things in real time and selling at the same time. Like we're getting there, we're going to get there in the next few years, but it's not quite there yet. But just literally anyone and everyone will be able to either have a one-man brokerage with their team under them, and that way be able to operate almost without having to intervene too much, literally like having a team. Or existing brokerages, bigger brokerages will just be able to take a lot more work off of the agents themselves, give it to AI, and the agents can focus on the personal interactions with their clients, which is what really matters when it comes to real estate.
Yeah,
right?
and I think that's interesting, right? Like, because people think that, and there's an issue with the positioning of the words that I used, right? Like, and that's just like AI agents.
Yeah.
Instantly, someone who's in real estate might assume that it's replacing agents, but
Yeah.
that's not really what we're saying here, and that's not what the term means as well. It's more, I think of it like an assistant. I think that's how you positioned it earlier. An AI assistant for your marketing tasks, sales tasks, etc. Like that's kind of what you're getting. Like instead of having a PA that does basically all these things, or teams that do all these things, you're getting an automated sort of machine that works for you in different contexts, whether it's marketing, sales, finance, whatever it might be, right? So you mentioned that like the personal interaction part, right? Like effectively we know as humans we excel, or at least some of us excel at like EQ or something like this, right? Versus like the administrative components of work. And I think especially in real estate, when you're making one of the biggest decisions of your life to buy a house, not everyone has 10 properties and things like that. It's one massive purchase, and you want to make sure that when you're going through that journey, you're not just going through some automated experience, but you're also getting a person who looks at you, understands the requirement that you have. How they do that on the back end could be basically, agents and things like that. But something for picking up human cues, I think, is very, very not done just yet.
Because beyond that as well, right? Like sales is not only I have a great product or I have a great house in real estate. I have a great house, I have a great apartment, and it matches all of your requirements and you should buy it. It's also, how do you connect with the person who's selling to you, right? Do you share common experiences? Do you share common interests? Like, can you be friendly with them, basically? And that's something that, like, ChatGPT is getting better at, for example. But you would still miss having that face-to-face interaction with someone, just laughing with someone a little bit, making a few jokes with someone, or talking about something that interests both of you. Forming that little bit of a connection really helps with the whole sales process. And that's why I was saying, like, that personal experience of real estate, of sales generally, is very valuable, and that's something that AI is not going to take away yet.
Yeah, I think like it's gonna just replace do the bits that agents themselves don't want to do. Like firstly, prioritizing, figuring out who to cold call, like making that decision based on data, and then actually making the cold calls, which I believe agents don't like, and I've heard that from agents directly. They don't want to be cold calling multiple people in a day, and then they just have to do the house viewing, do the things where like people want a personal touch. The agents need to show, when they're showing the house, like show their clients what living there will be like, and AI can't do that, not the same way. So it's just going to take away the boring jobs that agents don't want to do, and I think it'll just give them more time to like focus on closing deals, doing more, and like enjoying the process as well.
Right. And what else have you seen sort of in the AI and real estate space? Because I know you recently were on a panel with the National Real Estate Development Council of India and like the whole like Ministry of Housing. Like that was a crazy experience, I think. Like insane people on that panel as well. Talking about how India as a country is also looking at the real estate market. So what did you kind of like pick up from that particular panel on AI, real estate, and I believe there's some urban planning, was it? Yeah. So share with us some of those insights that you gained from that one.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about brokerages and agents, but there's so much within like the developer space as well. So like one of the things like India's working on is making that process of applying for a project, putting the paperwork much easier. Basically, we can also use AI for that. So like all your documents, mapping out what the project will be like, how it's actually following all the laws and regulations for that particular area. Like AI can check all of that for you rather than like you having to actually manually make sure everything's meeting the requirements from your side as a developer as well, and from the government side as well. AI will instantly pick up and tell you what's missing so that you can kind of fix that and then put that in. It sounds boring, but it'll just speed up the process. And that means more can get done faster. And that'll just mean more growth and development quicker. And AI and tech is just helping us speed up that because population growth, all of that is expanding, it's like growing quickly. So we need to make sure that we're also building for that and prepared for that in a way.
Fair. And obviously, prop tech is not really something that we all woke up and said that, like, you know, oh, I want to be a prop tech engineer, mom, dad. That wasn't the vibe at all. So what about this space sort of excites you in the context of what we're doing right now? And like, where do you kind of see Kendal going in the next few years, decades?
Let's start with the first question. What excites me? Revolutionizing such a legacy industry. This industry has been around for ages. It changes, but it doesn't change, I feel, at the pace that a lot of other industries change, especially coming in from tech, where we have to be up to date with like the latest trends all the time. You know, crypto is happening. You got to know what's happening with what is blockchain, what is crypto, how do I use this, what are the real world applications. Same thing with AI. You know, it's not just ChatGPT, but what can we do with it? How is the world going to change? How are our jobs going to change? And how is it going to affect the future? I feel that throughout history, real estate hasn't really been completely at the forefront of innovation. They haven't been so quick to adopt innovation. So being able to go in with this cutting edge technology and just show it to them, simplify it for them, so it's not anything complicated. They don't have to even understand how it works. They just have to see that it makes their life easier. That excites me. It's a fun experience as well, not just a thought. We're doing it.
No.
The second question you got to repeat.
I forgot.
I kind of forgot as well.
Oh, you know what?
Let's
It's okay.
skip that one.
Move on.
Wasn't important.
Wasn't important. Something about the future. Who cares? No, but I think something I do want to ask you.
The future of Kendal, sorry.
Future of Kendal,
I think
yeah.
like to just add to that, I think, it's like a really exciting challenge, and I totally feel the same as well in that. And the other thing is also, I think it's just going to make it a lot more accessible and easier for anyone to get into real estate and be able to just use our tools to start. And I think that means just like anyone can get in, which I think is like really great in a way. That's literally.
Do you think that's great though? Like that anyone can get into?
I think
the
anyone
space?
who has like the right attitude and the right, like, if they're good at this and like good at building relationships, they can use our tools to get in. They don't need to find like an in with a brokerage or like have connections to get in or really have to start from the bottom. They have the right tools. As long as they're good at their job, they'll be able to use the tools to make more sales in a way. But
And
you still need to have like the right skills, soft skills, basically.
Yeah, which ends up being your network and then the whole.
yeah, but it's our job to make them better at their jobs as well.
Yeah.
But to the future of Kendal, and where at least I think we're all relatively aligned, but we still sometimes have our own little visions for the company.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be it digitization of real estate or something else.
So, guys, the context on that is we just hired one of the youngest associate directors at Foxtons.
Foxtons, was it?
And he constantly refers to tokenization of real estate as a digitization.
Yeah. And
So we give Aman a lot of help.
a little bit of background on that as well. What tokenization is, it's basically fractional ownership of real estate, but based on blockchain. So you would have marketplaces where you can basically trade or buy and sell, trade small portions of real estate. So a student with maybe, I don't know, $3,000 can still invest in an apartment, just a small part of the apartment, and they would get a dividend kind of as the rent.
But some would say that you can kind of already do that, right? That you can already have like fractional ownership. We have Stake, Baytukam. We got like a bunch of different startups that are tackling this regionally and then globally as well. Why do we need blockchain for fractional ownership? And also broadly, what is really the point of tokenization at all, right? Like I'm as pro crypto as you guys for the right use cases, but most use cases that are now having a lot of scar tissue from the space is just around cross-border remittances and like empowering economies that have hyperinflated currencies, giving equal opportunity for them to get a fair ground again, basically. Like that's why I see it being extremely useful in the context of like real world asset tokenization or tokenization of real estate, right? Or digitizing real estate, as some would say. What do you guys think is really the point?
Why I love crypto, why I love tokenization is because I come from a developing country where not everyone has a bank account, not everyone has easy access to opening a bank account. And Kenya had a great way of solving this. We have something called mobile money, where you can literally just go to a vendor, take some cash, put it onto your SIM card, and send money from SIM to SIM like you would send an SMS. Crypto, I think, is another way of tackling things like people not being able to open bank accounts as well. You can have crypto on your phone. It's very easy to open a wallet as long as you have an internet connection. And there's people working on wallets where you don't need an internet connection as well. So literally you could have like a Nokia 3310 and still be able to send money from one person to another person. So when we tokenize real estate and put it on a blockchain, we literally enable anybody and everybody to be able to buy it. Not only the students who've got, a fancy phone and a bank account and everything, but just don't have the money to invest in real estate, but also someone in rural Kenya or, somewhere in South America who doesn't have proper infrastructure, doesn't have a bank account, lives even from day to day, doesn't even have a lot of money. They can still invest their $2 or their $1 into real estate, sitting in a bush in somewhere in Africa, being able to buy property in Dubai. That is really, really cool for me. That's proper democratization of assets, of just, living, basically. You're enabling everyone to be on a level playing field. Even though they don't have the same amount of money, they don't have, the same backgrounds, they're not in the same places. You're just giving them similar opportunities, obviously at different scales.
I think that's like the most important thing, and also makes it easier to actually sell as well compared to our Web2 equivalents. It's easier to get in and get out. If you want to change, get liquid quicker, buy something else. So it's just like a little bit easy. Once you understand it and can use it, it's just easier as well.
Yeah, I mean, the liquidity part is really important, I think.
And obviously it does have its disadvantages as well. The biggest one being just volatility. You're creating markets like the stock market for people to trade real estate on. It's going to be, some of them are going to be quite volatile, and that's a little bit scary. Yeah,
and also KYC AML. Like, I think once you have CBDCs, then it's a little bit more interesting to be like, okay, well, now we can actually invest globally from, Kenya or whichever country it might be, India. And I find that cool because it's still technically going through the right channels and still opening up opportunity in other markets and things like that. That's not very like crypto perspective, because that would be like screw the KYC and AML is what most folks would say.
There's a reason it's all in place. It's in place to avoid, illegal money, black market money from buying up the world, basically, or just from coming into circulation. It's avoiding taxes. It's coming from dodgy places. You're basically allowing people to support black markets when you're avoiding KYC and AML and things like this. So I wouldn't say crypto people are against it. Just anticipating what regulation does with it, because we don't want it to limit the use of crypto too much.
Yeah.
We want it to be easy enough for everyone to still be able to get into, but in a legal, proper, regulated way.
Right. I think, just sort of on the topic of emerging technologies, and like AI is obviously what we're discussing, what is artificial general intelligence? And also, what is artificial super intelligence? Because I think a lot of people think that this AI thing is just a chatbot replying with it can speak like me, yay, and that's really not it, right? Like there's a whole world out there, and this is what I think that the real estate world is too protected from, is the reality of what is actually coming in the next 4 to 10 years. What are your views on artificial general intelligence, artificial super intelligence, and what do you guys think that actually even looks like for the general world? And then if you want to get into the real estate side, because it's very hard to be honest, we don't have a crystal ball here, be like, oh, this is what it's going to look like, but as best as we can, what does it actually mean, right?
So ChatGPT is an LLM. What that means is a large language model. Everybody uses it to, ask it questions, do their research, and just ask it anything and everything.
It's like Google.
Yeah, but that's dangerous, because it's not built to tell you the truth. It's a large language model. It's built to produce language. That means it's just built to give you sentences that make sense. It's not built to give you information that is true. The reason it gives you information that is true a lot of the time is because it's been trained on so much data. It's been fed so much information to teach it how to speak, that it's learned from that the next word that should come after, I don't know, tallest building in the world is then Burj Khalifa. Because it's read so many texts to teach it how to speak that it knows, okay, the probability of tallest building in the world, the highest probability of tallest building in the world, what should come after that, is Burj Khalifa. So this is only the beginning. It's not really intelligent in the sense that it can think really and make proper decisions. It just knows how to formulate sentences very well.
So you're saying AI is not actually intelligent at the moment?
It's intelligent in a way, but it depends on what you classify as intelligence, and then different stages of intelligence, right? Speaking, being able to come up with sentences just on the fly is quite intelligent.
Thanks.
For software. As a human being, it's kind of a basic necessity.
Fair. So obviously that's the current state, which is like GPT-4 kind of, which is the level of model, I guess, that we are currently on. What does the future look like?
Yeah, so to just build on top of that as well. So the first step was it's guessing what the next sentences are. Now with the latest model, it's also coming up with that response, and then actually doing some form of level of reasoning as well, and rechecking it and then explaining its reasoning. So now if you ask it to basically solve a math question, it will kind of give its logical reasoning, which a model before couldn't do. So it's slowly getting better. Not even slowly, actually, it's 10x getting better. And in the next year or so, you'll see it 100x. So that's where we get to artificial general intelligence, being able to take in your logical reasoning, but emotional reasoning, taking in a lot more into account while giving you an output. So you'll be able to use it and apply it. And things like hallucination won't be a problem anymore. Right now, that's the biggest problem.
Sorry, I'm laughing because you said hallucination. And I once told one of our clients our bot was hallucinating a little bit. And she said, why has Kendal been smoking so many drugs? So I want to explain hallucination just so you don't think, AI is getting high and seeing things. Hallucination is basically when it gives you incorrect information. So like I was saying, ChatGPT is programmed to give you sentences, but not facts. So when it gives you incorrect information, it's hallucinating.
Yeah, and also there's this limit on how much information it can hold at one particular time, right? So it starts forgetting the old things that you said, and therefore the logical next word in the sentence actually is not necessarily the exact correct one that you want. It's maybe would have been about 120 words ago, but now it's no longer in that range, and therefore it's giving you like less accurate sort of.
It's basically like Dory from Finding Dory, you know. Hi, I'm Dory. I've got short-term memory loss.
Yeah.
That's basically ChatGPT, you know.
Yeah.
It's got a
Some
little bit of
woman's gonna
short-term
go
memory,
crazy
but
on this.
every few words it forgets the previous 1,000 words or so.
Got it.
It keeps getting better. Its memory keeps getting better.
So
There's-
I think that in the context of ASI, artificial superintelligence, which a lot of people don't know about, and this is, by the way, like I have to preface this by saying I'm not a software engineer. I'm a finance bro living in the tech bros world. And I watched this thing at the Future Investment Initiative, and that's Mayushi-san, like Masa from SoftBank, basically talking about, you know, what ASI actually means. If AGI means that you're getting to a level of existing human intelligence,
a digital human brain.
yes, then ASI means that you're 10,000x human brain sort of capacity. And that is pretty freaking scary.
Scary. I mean, even
Right.
AGI is scary, right?
Yes.
Something that is
Yeah.
as smart as us.
It's like,
How do you, she
Yeah.
said emotional intelligence. What do you call emotions when it's software?
yeah.
What are emotions then?
So, you know, it's interesting. Like, I mean, we can really, really go into the, like, there's two sides, right? Like you can say creativity unbounded.
Yeah.
This means that space travel, world hunger, you know, peace, and like all of these things.
Sustainability, all of that can
Yeah.
be solved.
All of these might be solved all of a sudden, right? But then the contrast or the other side is like who actually, like, it's like sovereign nations are building models, trying to own these models so they can be at the forefront of ASI.
And it'll
Or-
be used
yeah.
for war as well.
Yeah, exactly, right? So it's kind of like,
humans are great at doing that. We innovate so that we can fight with the innovations.
yeah. So what are the like checks and balances that, you know, need to be implemented so that artificial intelligence is contained or is measured or regulated? Like what does that look like, and what do you guys think that kind of means?
I mean, the first part is also just like more people who are making decisions on regulation should be from a background in tech, but like that's not
Like
possible.
Joel should not be making decisions.
I mean, like in terms of government, like regulations that are made should be made in terms of like making sure we can progress so it's not too limiting, but also safeguards to actually protect population overall. And that can only be made if like the people in power are actually well educated in this space way more than they are right now.
I should
And-
disagree with that.
Why?
Because I think like you need like a broader perspective than the technologist's view. Like I think that
I think
like, you
you
know,
need-
technologists are great at
Sure.
like, you know, pushing pioneer things, but like you need the like the artist perspective, the psychologist perspective, because otherwise you just kind of get into a world where like us, the nerds, are like going like, this is so interesting. Oh no, it broke. No, wait, like the whole world.
No, I think
I
I think
don't
you
know.
need the government officials to be who they are, to be the way they are, but you need the consultants. You need people from the tech world to come in and consult with them, advise them on how to go about it, and educate them to a level where they can understand it enough to be able to implement good regulation. And the question of what is good regulation when it comes to AI, I think is impossible to answer. How do you regulate something that'll be smarter than us? How do you put rules and checks and balances in place for something that'll be smarter than us? That'll be able to change itself, that may even be able to manipulate us because it's so much smarter than us. I think it's a very difficult question to answer at this stage. I would not even try to answer it.
Yeah, do you want to say something?
No, no,
Okay.
fine.
So I think we covered a lot of the serious techie bits that
Yeah.
Susie requested for. But I think just taking it back to a sort of a slightly lighter note, you've been on this entrepreneurial journey. I have two major questions. One being, how, as a young entrepreneur, should you go about picking your co-founder? That's like my first question. And then I'll get to the other one. Yeah. But we have like 3 minutes.
Mm.
So anyone want to jump in?
Get lucky
Go,
with a
go,
good
go.
ex-girlfriend.
What? Do you say get lucky with
A good ex-girlfriend who introduces you to great people.
No, that's great advice. Yeah. This is why.
Pick your relationships well.
Oh wow, fair enough. Drishti.
I think firstly, it's not always about their background, where they studied, where they worked. It doesn't matter how smart they might come off in terms of like how much they know. It obviously matters to an extent, but like that's not the most important. The most important as a founder is to actually have the right attitude in terms of like can do anything and like thinks like can figure anything out. Like, as long as they have that attitude, you can learn, you can pick up anything you need, but you can never like have that. If you don't have that attitude from day one, you're not going to make it far, because it's continuously a roller coaster. Like 10 things get thrown at you at the same time and you just don't know how to handle it. And like, it's easy to break under that pressure. But if your co-founder has that attitude that it's okay, we can figure it out, we'll learn, as long as they're open to learning and doing better, it's fine. Because if they have the attitude like, I already know everything and that I can do this and I'm great, it's not going to work, because there's no way you know everything. You're not even close to prepared for what is going to come. I had no idea when I was getting into this what I was going to have to deal with, but I just did. I was like, okay, this is the problem, this is what we have to do, and just like keep going.
Yeah.
As long as like the other person has that attitude, it's fine. I think that's like the most important.
Awesome.
For me.
And my final question to both of you.
Just to add on,
No,
because
no,
I just gave a joke answer before. It's a small bit.
Sorry, bro.
Slight add on is just pick people who complement your weaknesses. So people like who can fill in your weaknesses, basically.
Yeah.
So like, you're great at talking to people, you're great at sales, you're great at raising money, you're also very smart and good at research, but like, you're not a great programmer.
Yeah.
I think
tried.
you can't write like 2 lines of code.
He tried.
I tried writing 2 lines of code and I stopped at the 3rd line.
I was like, I can't help you.
And when it comes to like, the software architecture, everything, just building everything and planning the software, that's something that you're not so good at because you just don't have that experience. So, you're very, very good at one side of the business that I think we would not be so good at, or we wouldn't thrive in, but you excel at it, and we thrive in a space that you don't thrive in. And I think that's very important.
Actually, that was going to be my next question, which is kind of like, what sort of if you had to leave entrepreneurs with one piece of advice, what would that be in a line or two?
I'll just go with that to minimize the time.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much the same as what I was saying. It's the attitude. It's finding the right people, finding the right team.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we covered most of it. I don't have anything else to add.
Awesome.
One little cheesy bit of motivation at the end. Drishti said this in the beginning.
Yeah.
You're not motivated to do everything every day, but pick people who can keep you motivated as much as possible, and who can keep you disciplined as much as possible, because the discipline is what's important at the end of the day.
And keeping each other accountable, like calling each other out when like we're not doing something or doing something wrong. Like having that relationship is so important.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have no problem doing that with you guys. So that's for sure. And neither do you with me. Yeah. So yeah. Well, thank you guys. It's actually been really fun. I didn't think it would be.
We should do this more often, man. We don't talk enough.
Yeah. Oh, it's like every hour, every day. No, but thank you so much for coming on this episode of The Real Ones. Come back next week for yet another episode, and thank you, Drishti Harman.
We are the real ones.
Thank you for doing this,
yeah, the realest ones. Happy birthday again.
Thank
birthday, Drishti.
You guys have a meeting to go to.
Yeah.
Thank you.